it's just switched. Okay, it is now 6 p.m. Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. I here now call the meeting of the Montgomery regular meeting Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Our first order of business will be the pledges to the flags. United States.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay. So we do have a quorum. John Fox is out this evening, but we're all good to go. So the next item will be the public forum. We do have one, Brandon Huffman. Hoffman would like to speak. Sure.
It's just 8 being about way too many, so I apologize. You've probably seen a lot of this. Because they are ordinances that are super. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Brendan Hoffman. I live at 22530 FM 2854 in Montgomery, Texas. I'm the first house on the left if you're heading south on 2054. You look up, it's right there. You can now see it from 105, you can now see it from Kroger. I have some exhibits here, A, B, C, and D. Exhibit 1 is the setback section, which was already approved to be reduced to 20 feet by City Council. I'd like to address just my property with regards to that setback and not anyone else's. There's an aerial easement that follows that, there's a 10-foot aerial easement along that property line. At the top of the property, my property is at 300, elevation 300. HB is proposing digging down 10 foot to the back of the retaining wall. From there, dropping down 17 feet to 276 feet. Within the setback requirement, there's a visual barrier component. Definition of visual barrier is Exhibit B, where it indicates that a natural ground elevation visual barrier should be present. If one is to accomplish that, you would have to plant it along the natural ground elevation. In the proposed drawings that were dated back in March, that can't be accomplished. I did do a public request for information. I did model the entire site. You can see that in Exhibit B. I am an architect. I do this for a living. I do hundreds of million dollar developments across the state of Texas. This isn't the first time I've done it, and I've had to comply with ordinances much more stringent than these. My ask is quite simple. Within the ordinance, there are a couple options that can be upheld by council and then by the board. One is to comply with natural ground elevation, creating a true visual barrier to the definition of the ordinance, which can be accomplished via trees, fencing, combination of both, or a wall. A wall would be one that would protect the safety of my kids, who are right there. The natural ground elevation starts to be the same. When you hit the bottom of the retaining wall, there is a direct access from the parking lot into my property, nothing separating. I reached out to them, asked if we could work together on something. The answer was the retaining wall is a visual barrier. That's the answer I got. There have been further conversations, as I understand it, to date that have changed that response, but that is one of my asks. My other ask is to consider, which is Exhibit C, the sound ordinances. 68 decibels is the sound ordinance that at any time can go across the property line. 54 if you're a residential person. Masonry walls can reduce decibel by 40 to 50, while if you look at Federal Highway Association trees, even 100 foot in depth only reduce sound by 4 to 5 decibels. Your dishwasher operates at around 42 decibels, just to give you a sense of what noise level we're talking about. Dropping the building, truly appreciate. Thank you. You still have generators, you still have units on the roof, you still have air equipment, you still have trucks backing up, all 20 foot away from property lines. I'd ask that you also enforce the sound ordinance. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, thank you. pass all these on to Chris and whatnot. So,
I just want you to know that I had a meeting today concerning that. I am well aware, and it's very obvious of what has happened to that piece of property and to your home especially. With the trees being gone, it's just wide open. And that was not my understanding the last time I came to a meeting and I met with, the HEB stood in front of us, and that is not what I took away from what I expressed as vegetation and leaving as many trees as you could. There was not a mockingbird, but a woodpecker that was supposed to be endangered. I don't know where that bird went, but the trees went with it. And
In my pine trees, red woodpecker.
yeah, but I'm just saying,
yeah,
like,
this isn't the descriptions.
I just want you to know. Thank you. Thank you.
I will move on to item number 3, consideration and possible action on the P&Z regular meeting minutes of August 5th, 2025.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the approval of the August 5th, 2025 meeting minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Ayes have it. That passes. The meeting minutes pass. Okay. Next item we're going to will be item number 4. Consideration of possible action regarding a request for a special use permit for a restaurant with accessory drive-through service located at 22205 FM 1097, be the Waterstone on Lake Conroe, lot 01, lot RSA2.
Good evening, Commission members. This tract of land that you're looking at is proposing a new retail center. It's currently the vacant piece of property that's right next to Atkins Creek on the south side of FM 1097. It is zoned the commercial zoning district. The retail center is a permitted use in that B commercial zoning district. One of the tenants that is looking at the property is a restaurant that would be offering drive-through service. We don't know what kind of restaurant. They think it's going to be one that will offer breakfast-type foods, maybe a donut shop. But again, we're back to the restaurants with the accessory drive-through service because restaurant with drive-through isn't an expressed permitted use in the table of uses. You require a special use permit. Also, the accessory use of drive-through, the accessory uses require a special use permit, and that's why we're here today for the special use permit application. If you look at the site plan on page 12, I went through a list of the findings. So the drive-through lane may contribute to any concerns that you might have regarding traffic and how it flows on the site. Most of the drive-through is going to occur behind the building, so most of the parking behind the building will be employee parking. The pedestrian traffic will be in front of the building, again, because the drive-through vehicles will drive behind the building and around on the east side of the building, and then they'll come north up through the parking lot, hopefully avoiding any kind of increased pathways across pedestrian walkways. The way that they designed it appears to minimize any kind of disruption on the property. It's not like the stacking is going to occur on FM 1097. Again, it would occur behind the building. Traffic flow looks like it would work. It appears to be well separated from any kind of the parking area or the pedestrians. So based on these findings, I recommend approval, or that P&Z would recommend approval to City Council.
How long is the special use permit good for again?
You can place a restriction on time for that special use permit. But keep in mind, the drive-through is kind of permanent because it's built into the building.
Are there houses behind it yet? I know it's an empty lot, but are there plans there?
It is residential behind there. This specific property was previously platted, so all of the setbacks are already on and set on that property.
This property goes directly against the creek, correct?
Yes, the east side of it.
So that's the vegetative separation.
For that side, correct.
Yeah.
But then there's the residences behind it
Exactly.
on the south side.
Just the existing residential units already present. They're separated. There should be very little impact to them with this property. I do. Lighting?
Right now, there aren't any plans for that residential development. At least I haven't seen it.
Will there be a natural barrier between the drive-through behind the building and the creek, or is?
When we
Will
go
that be
through the review, we'll make sure that all of the requirements for vegetation and setbacks are met.
Which is
Especially
20,
the creek.
it's 25 feet vegetation, and we can impose a noise as well.
When this specific property was platted, those setbacks were different at that time.
What were they? What are
It
they?
was 10 feet. 10 feet in the rear for the, yeah. I'll take a look at it. Let me see if this plan is much.
How soon will the developer know what's going to go in there?
You mean what tenant will occupy the restaurant? I don't know if he already has someone in line to occupy that space.
Can we request to know?
You can place whatever conditions you would like on the special use permit. There's a specific restriction you'd like to have, but restaurants in general are permitted in the B commercial zone district. To pick what type, I don't know that it would be good to do that.
Yeah, it's, I mean, as a developer, if he doesn't have the site sold out, he has no idea who's going in or what. I mean, he's asked for a drive-through, it may never be used as a drive-through, possibly.
Can we get clarification on what the actual setback for noise ordinances will be adhered to, or if there'll be a wall, or is it just that vegetation, is that listed already?
Not at this time. I don't know that they submitted theirs.
So the noise ordinance will still apply. That's a different, that's regardless of setback, the noise ordinance applies no matter what. So this is the property that's in front of that berm, that's behind it, between it and the proposed or future residential. As far as what the setbacks are, we can look and let you know. But those were, when the property was platted, probably, at least, what? 2015, 2014, 2015, so it was the requirements at that time, for those setback distances. But as far as landscaping, it still has to be your landscape ordinance. As far as sound, it still has to be the sound ordinance. It's just that vegetative setback is what doesn't change it, that's part of a platted setback. It's put on the plat.
It almost looks like the setup they have down there at Denny's and Tailgaters across from Starbucks and all that, and Shoguns. That's what it appears to look like.
On the south side of the lake.
But drive-through here at,
It's like Bahama Bucks too, they got the drive-through.
What is it?
Bahama Bucks, like that, right there, so.
Isn't there an entrance right across the street from it in that other, I think they have storage or people have businesses out of there? There's not another entrance right there?
No. it's
No,
not.
Up here?
direct
It's all-
across.
Yeah,
it's
up
all
here a
right.
little bit, huh?
Yeah,
Up a ways?
Way.
We're not looking at a light being put there because of all the traffic.
No. Yeah, there's nothing across.
Okay. How far off the street are they gonna be?
For the drive-through?
No, that whole setup there, I'm trying to look, and I'm trying to blow it up to see, you know how it comes off the highway, and then it looks like there's an area, and then there's parking space, and then there's two-way traffic in between that round circle. How far off the street is that
Where
parking?
the- Oh, where the
Parking is, yeah, where it starts. Can you see it?
Yeah,
I'm blowing it
looks
up,
like
keeps
there's
getting,
a 25-foot utility easement,
okay.
and then the parking starts.
Are they planning on starting to build soon?
Not until they go through all of the civil reviews. As of yet, I haven't heard if they received approval for their driveway off of FM 1097 from
Mhm.
Textile. And I don't know that there's much clearing because
There's not
there
much there.
is.
Yeah, but they need to go through all their feasibilities, so they probably want this first, then all the studies and.
So on this property, there is no feasibility study because it's already a platted property, just developing now, a
Right.
platted section. They have started submitting civil plans, but there's only so far they can go without special use
Yeah, okay,
plans. We have a bunch of comments.
right. Okay.
The terms we've set in the past, they've generally been, or we've had a few different ones. I'm curious on suggestions here. Change of ownership has been a common one. Is there any staff recommendation on the term?
For the drive-through
Yes,
specifically,
Yes.
change of ownership as in
the building.
of the developer or change of tenant? Anytime that there's a
Change of tenant would be tough, because that could be common. It could be quick.
Change of developer, change of
Change of ownership of
Of the property?
property
the
owner.
property.
We could put that on there.
Okay.
Change of ownership of the property. So the special use permit, you're going to tie to the owner of the
Yep.
property and not the tenant of the
Right,
That would be my recommendation. Then I'll make a motion that we recommend approval of the special use permit for a restaurant with accessory drive-through service located at 22205 FM 1097, legal description, Waterstone on Lake Conroe, 01, lot RES A2, for the term as long as it's with this developer, this builder, this property owner. Should the property owner change, we would request a revised special use permit. You ready to repeat that, Bill?
I would second it, but I want to put stipulations too.
Okay.
So, I mean, we want to put a timeline on there, and we want to know what the vegetation setback is, and I want to know about the lighting,
building.
how it shines off into those subdivisions.
Agreed.
So do we want to table it, or do we want to pass it and then let them come
well,
back
they're
with
gonna
some?
they're gonna have to meet all we have lighting ordinances right now.
Yes,
And you all have done great on that. 'Cause I know HEB, the school behind me, those knockdown lights, I mean, they're unbelievable. So we have a light ordinance,
okay.
and that's,
Setbacks can't change either, because it's already platted.
right,
It's not much do with that? It's pretty simple, what he said fits, because this is just a special permit for that only. It doesn't
Right.
include anything else.
Right. So the only thing we're discussing now is the special use permit.
Could that be a commission inquiry after the fact?
Say it again.
Could that be a commission inquiry at the end of our meeting to come back and next meeting find out exactly what that setback was, just so that we
Yeah, we
we
can
know.
sure
Yes.
get it to you,
Yeah, that's the only, I think that,
but in this
in this context, there's not much we can tie them to.
Yeah, yeah,
Right,
because it's specific to that.
right.
But yeah, we could sure, we could send you out an email or something, tell you what those were when they platted it.
Exactly.
What is that hours of operation of the drive-through? If you don't want 24 hours.
I mean, I would be very surprised if they're running 24/7.
Let's put it in there, just in case.
Well, we
But if it's a
can't-
donut shop, it could be
That's right, 3
4
a.m.
or
in the
5
morning.
a.m. If it's a Subway, it's going to be 9 or 10 to 9 or 10.
But we here can't sit and dictate hours. That's not our, that's not,
I feel like that's beyond my, what,
right, that's what I'm saying. We,
I don't feel right dictating that. I do feel right dictating that it's tied to the property owner.
oh, yes, yes, yes,
And then, should that change?
yeah,
And otherwise, I think it's fine. They've got it planned out.
right.
It's probably one of the better laid out ones we've seen.
So we have a motion for the approval tied to the owner. If the ownership changes, then the new owner of the property needs to come back in and reapply for a special use permit.
But does that include if it's already made, if it's a year or two down the road?
Yes.
So,
If he ever changes it or sells the property,
Right.
if the property owner ever changes, I mean, even in the event of inheritance, they would have to come back. Second.
Mhm.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second for a request, the approval for the special use permit for the restaurant and accessory drive-through service located at 22205 FM 1097 Waterstone on the Lake, 01 Lot RES A-2, with the stipulation that it ties to the owner, and if the property owner sells the business, the new property owner will need to come back in and reapply for the special use permit. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No,
Okay, the ayes have it. We have, it's a 4-1. We had one no.
3-1.
3-1, I'm sorry. 3-1. Motion passes with one no. Okay, we will move on to, let me get my bearings here. Like I did last week. Okay, consideration possible action on the variance request related to the required off-street parking for BCS Capital Multifamily Development.
Good evening, Commission. So in front of you today is a variance request from BCS Capital. If you remember, the last few months we've been going over rezoning for this development. It's the multifamily portion that is at the corner of CB Stewart and Buffalo Springs. This is the next step in their development, which is requesting a variance request on parking. So what you'll see in your packet is directed to page 17 of your packet. It's a letter from Elsewhere, the engineer for the development, requesting that the variance be granted for 1.5 parking spots per unit to be granted. Now, the current ordinance requires that each multifamily development provide 2 spaces per unit. And they're wanting to decrease that to 1.5. In their letter, they reference the city of Houston's requirements for parking with 1.33 spaces being provided for one-bedroom units and 1.6 parking spaces being required for two-bedroom units. We also reference the city of Conroe's requirements. The city of Conroe requires 1.75 parking spaces per unit for one bedroom and then 2 for two-bedroom and higher. So what you're looking essentially is that Conroe, City of Houston require off-street parking be based off of number of beds rather than the City of Montgomery's, which is based off of units. So what this will look like as far as what they're proposing, they're required based off City of Montgomery ordinances to provide 624 parking spaces. Based on Conroe's, they will be providing, required to provide 576 parking spaces. And then for Houston, they'll be required to provide 456 parking spaces. They're currently proposing 482 parking spaces, which includes 50 spaces of garage parking.
Question on the garage, is that covered parking or is that?
Actual garage. So this will mirror the Heritage Plaza apartments that provide cover and garage, but it's explicitly the 50 that I'm referring to is explicit garage style parking.
Okay.
That's counted in the spots, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
I would like to also mention that as a part of their development agreement, this was a variance that was mentioned in the agreement, essentially outlining that the city would be adhering conceptually to the proposed variances for the commercial and the multifamily. We've just presented you all with the multifamily. We haven't seen the commercial request come through.
So the preliminary site plan that they have,
Yes, sir.
when they first presented to us all this, I don't know when that exactly was. Did they have a site plan at that time for the apartments?
When we presented the feasibility study amendment, we included a site plan that closely mirrors, I have to look at it to be specific, but it closely mirrored what's being shown today.
Was it more or less parking than this here?
On the parking, I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
I can follow up on that. But it was the same number of units.
Okay.
To be correct.
And was this a gated community?
I don't believe that they've expressed any intention on it being gated or not.
I believe it's, and we're here, we might not know yet, but likelihood this is a standard apartment complex that's gated in front. So their primary entrance, based on the land plan, is, you can see the two gates on it, and I'm looking at it, from Buffalo Springs with then a secondary entrance off of CD Street.
Okay. And if it had to go, I mean, if we say it would be just flat 2, what does that do to the development? Do you have to take off a building, or?
Yeah, they would have to buy more land, and that would make, we're selling, so BCS Capital is selling the land to Morgan Group. Morgan Group is a first-in-class multifamily developer out of Houston, and this is in line with what they do for all of their projects across Houston. So what would happen is they would have to buy more land to use for parking, which is not making them any more money. What it also does for BCS is it shrinks the commercial portion and then puts more hindrance on parking on the commercial side. So this is the most efficient way for both the Morgan Group and then BCS from a site planning perspective to make it the most economical for both sides.
I'm just, especially not being a gated community, how,
It very well could be, I'm unaware of what their intention is.
but how the parking is going to be controlled with guests and, because, I mean,
I thought they had to be gated, because they were talking about controlling traffic, how they exit.
Are you not currently like unallowed to park on Buffalo Springs, correct? So,
no, I'm talking about overflow, the site, let's say we have right here, what you're proposing is what it works out, this is a 1.5, correct?
yes, sir.
For,
Plus 27, to be fair.
yeah,
Excuse me?
Plus 27 additional parking spots.
Yes,
to be fair.
1.5.
yeah. So not being a gated community and the residents in there, and there's a,
Real quick correction, it is gated. So they're showing a couple gates.
Okay. because that was my concern, because if you, what's proposed here, there'd be 110 extra, no, how many extra parking spots there would be? I had that written down.
Approximately 120.
Yeah, so extra parking, so if there's 10 units there, so if a unit has, if there's, a unit has some, let's say 10 people in there, there's 100 spots. So now you're taking away from a tenant, a renter that's coming in late, and he has to park, 5 or 6 units down the way.
Correct.
That's what
I think that you'd have to look at the mortgage group, and they're very good at being multifamily developers, and this is gonna be, I would say, roughly a $50 to $60 million project, and if they start playing with parking and residents get mad, that starts affecting their lease up and.
Well, I understand that, but what I'm saying is I don't want a product being in Montgomery that's gonna cause trouble. I don't want to have the chief have to worry about and settle parking disputes and not being, up, where they need to be. That's,
Absolutely.
if we cut the parking spots, there's gonna be issues. Unless it's controlled by a gated community.
Yeah, there's 2 gates on either side of this primary entrance, so I would imagine that's their intention, for it to be a gated community.
Right. I mean, this is the first time that we as a P&Z have been able to be approached about apartment complex. And I want to make sure if I'm here that this is going to be.
Good precedence.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Zach, what's the precedence in the city of Montgomery, city limits right now?
So all of the existing multifamily developments have adhered to the 2 units per parking, or 2 parking spaces per unit. So this would be a first, at least, this would be a new precedent for existing multifamily developments.
Is this, how tall is it?
It should be a 3-story walkout, so I would say average floor plate is 30 feet, so, 10 feet.
3 floors.
30.
3 floors?
Yes.
And you're saying 391?
It should be 482 parking spots on.
How many
312
apartments,
units.
though?
312. With, I believe it's like 62% of those are 1 bedroom.
And do you know anything about the rent?
I'm unaware of what they're going to be charging for rent.
But it will be market value. It won't be.
Yeah, well, it's a Class A project, and we've shown some renderings to B&Z and City Council of what their product generally looks like. It's very nice.
So the apartments would have property managers.
Yes,
There would be a property manager on site. Okay.
Morgan Group uses Greystar. Greystar is a national company that has hundreds of thousands of units.
When they originally proposed this, did they show it with the 2 spots per?
I'm unaware of what the first iteration of this looked like, but I would imagine they did not.
But knowing that that's what the ordinance is for Montgomery, that's what they came in for, correct? I mean, that they accepted it. My thing is that they think, okay, well, we'll just do a variance later, just to get our foot in the door. What else?
This has always been a part of the process that DCS has wanted to take. This is one of our obligations to do to close and accomplish our entire project. So there's no bait and switch going on there.
And just to speak to that, this was always a part of the process. One comment that we've been getting from council and P&Z was the layering of variances rezoning within a development agreement. And so what we were trying to do with this particular one is outline what they would be requesting, but still follow the actual process of what would be needed. That's why we did the rezoning for the multifamily, and why we're coming back for the variance application.
Which they're asking for approval before they.
Oh,
before
someone's
they do-
asking before they do it.
before- yeah,
Oh,
asking for it
great.
Instead of afterwards, yes. Thanks.
And as far as the site plan changes, so the original feasibility study, I don't think the Morgan Group was identified at that time, so there was a high-level concept site plan, but it was more of how many units, because it was all based on water and wastewater, and where are they gonna go. And so what's changed from that original is the Morgan Group is partnered, has refined the site plan, and then made their primary interest off of Buffalo Springs. The number of units has changed some, but I think it's been down, if I remember correctly. But it's not, there was never a plan for this level of detail submitted that said, here's the number of 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, et cetera. So this is the first time we've seen this level of detail.
Yeah, and I will say, since we started, we did go from the 12.15 acres to the 11.09 acres, and that equals another acre of commercial land to the city, where the city makes roughly, I'd say, 3 times as much money on each acre of commercial as they do multi. So it's mutually beneficial for BCS and also the city.
So BCS is the developer, and
So
you
we're
own the
BCS,
land? Yeah.
We're the landowner, and we're selling a portion of that land to the Morgan Group, who is the multifamily developer.
So is this the one where you were gonna do academy and all that, and then the apartments were gonna be, you're
Yes,
part of all that? So we're gonna do
Academy is
the,
south of the apartments.
so we're gonna do the apartments first.
Yes, well, yes, everything is gonna have to be preceded by all of the public infrastructure that we're doing, so the actual opening of apartments or academy, I can't tell you which would go first, but I would imagine probably the retail, because both things are gonna be starting at the same, roughly around the same date.
Okay.
But apartments are coming, whether we say yes or no.
Yes, ma'am.
And off-street parking, what is the real definition of that? That's like not in front of their not in front of their apartments. Or
The
off-street, like,
variance is for their on-site parking, they're not asking for, I guess, outside of their gates to have some sort of variance, but there's probably a high, it would be very unlikely someone would be parking on Buffalo Springs to not park on-site or off-site. This is not.
So that raises another question. Let's say, everybody's in, somebody's, having some type of a, I don't know, birthday or whatnot at the pool, the clubhouse, and they start parking on Buffalo Springs. Are we going to have no parking signs, or will that be watched closely, or?
If you have a concern regarding safety
On the parking,
on Buffalo
Yeah.
Springs, then PD would take a look at that as our
Okay,
safety.
so they
concern.
would-
So if you're worried about the width of the roadway,
right,
people being able to get by,
okay.
I think there's a drainage ditch right along Buffalo Springs, so I don't know, it might be.
Okay, so I'm just-
they'll park there anyways, just FYI. They don't care about a drain ditch, they'll park.
So is this assigned parking and/or will it be an area for guest parking? And that's going to lower, and I'm asking that because it's going to lower how many parking per unit. I know we say 1 bedrooms, we think one person's in there, but having lived in apartments, it's not always the case. So I don't want,
I would
More
imagine
things to be
they'll
limited.
have both assigned and guest parking, but I'm unable to speak to how they're gonna divvy up their parking.
So with the 1.5, we're looking at, with the 312 units, we're looking at, what, 482 spots available.
So there's going to be 400, at least 482 cars parked downtown inside that gated community.
Well, no, there'll be,
I mean,
I mean, if everyone owned a car, the minimum would be 312, the maximum would be 482.
Yeah, I mean, considering we don't have the public transportation that, Houston has, to be able to go to 1.33, for me, I'm telling you, I'm against reducing, leaving it at 2, so people can get to and from.
Yeah, I agree. I think the demographics are a little different
yeah.
on the number of people per unit, on the number of cars per unit.
and this is helpful how? By reducing? Money-wise, size-wise?
So they're able to purchase a smaller site, so they're not having to pay as much for the total land price, but we're also, BCS is able to build more commercial, and there's semi-parking problem for the commercial side of this. This alleviates a little bit of that parking concern on the commercial side by giving us more depth going north, if that makes sense.
Well, I don't know if I'm putting the cart before the horse here, so when they do the commercial, are you going to ask for a variance too if this is not approved?
Well, we're most likely going to have to ask for a variance on the commercial, but will likely be well above what we're going to be asking for. So,
Variance on the parking,
yes, sir.
just like what Home Depot had to do the same thing.
So y'all's action tonight is either recommending approval, disapproval, or a conditional approval of somewhere, shape, or form. So the ask is 1.5 per unit. Your ordinance is 2. Conroe has a range where it's 2 for 2 bedrooms, 1.75 for single bedrooms. So again, it's kind of up to y'all's recommendation, and then ultimately goes to the council.
I'd make a motion to disapprove consideration of possible action of variance requests related to the required off-street parking for the BCS Capital Multifamily Development, PEV number 2415.
I second that.
So let me get this straight, we have a motion to deny the 1.5 and keep it to the 2.
Correct.
We have a motion and a second to deny the request for variance for 1.5 parking spots per unit. At the BCS Capital Multifamily Development, number 2415. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor of the, how can I say it?
Recommendation.
Denying of the 1.5, say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. It's 4-1 in favor of 4-0 in favor of keeping it the current city ordinance. Item number 6, consideration and possible action by the Planning and Zoning Commission on the final plot for Legacy Grove, Section 1, development number 2409.
Good evening, Commission. So this item in front of y'all today is the final plat for the Legacy Grove Section 1 development that's going on across the street. This is the property between 105 and Lone Star Parkway. They are currently proposing with their Section 1 plat 65 lots. This development does not have any variances, so they're all minimum 9,000 square feet. For this section in particular, they're proposing a third acre acre to 0.72 acre blocks. So all standard pavement widths, 60-foot right of way, 28-foot pavement width. And yeah, so with this, just kind of going in terms of order of operations, y'all will be making a recommendation to council for approval or denial of this final plat. Once that's complete, council will do the same thing. In the interim between planning and zoning and council, the developer will be required to submit all impact fees for the development, all plat fees for the development, and a financial guarantee for the construction of the development. So this financial guarantee essentially allows us to say, developer skips town, I'm not saying that they would, we would have the ability to finance the development.
Did this development include any extension of your public utilities?
Yes, so we actually just, this twofold. There's a water portion of it, West Lone Star Parkway water line, which essentially takes the existing water line along Lone Star Parkway, approximately across the street from the community center, past or up to the development drive. And so with the development, it would be looping through the development to the existing water line along one line. And then on the sanitary side, they're required to relocate to station number 5. We're still going through design and obtaining all of our approvals from TxDOT and TCEQ, but that is currently in design around here. And we just bid and awarded the water line project.
When will they begin clearing property?
So I think already started clearing property. They haven't begun the water, sanitary, and drainage component because they're waiting on this, but I would imagine within the next couple of weeks, months, before the end of the year, I imagine.
I'd like to visit the tree ordinance, and we're going to ask City Council, or I'm going to ask City Council to look at Chapter 78, and we're going to dig a little deeper with how we do tree ordinances, because that piece of that property going up west, right? It's got some older trees, some are better than others, and some do need to be taken down, some need to be saved. I would like for something, I need a study, I need a feasibility, I need something, I would like to have, planning and zoning, something that can tell us, you know, what kind of trees are out there, and instead of annihilating the whole property and making it flat and then just pouring a whole bunch of cement and, you know, planting a 30-gallon tree that's going to take, you know, I'll be dead by the time it's big enough to take the place of the one they did cut down. So I would like to incorporate somehow that tree ordinance, not just let them to start destroying the land without going over what tree ordinances that we do have that we can implement to save what trees we can.
Yeah, so just to address some of your concern, we do, with our plan of plat review, look into the tree landscaping, all requirements per zoning district. As a part of the Legacy Grove, I believe they were retaining some of the trees on site for tree reserves, so that should alleviate some of your concern. I definitely understand.
Where is that at? Where's that study? Where's that agreement? Where is it that you've seen that they have done that? There's a grouping. Where's that grouping at?
It's on the construction plans that have been approved by council.
So council's already seen it. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, you said we're just including going from 9,000 to 7,000 something square feet? You were saying we're reducing the lot size?
No, so they're proposing lots that are approximately a quarter acre, or not quarter, third acre and 75, 3/4 acre. So yeah, these are all large lots.
With the full setbacks?
Yes, sir.
Tilly, were you called out or anything or were you made aware of any of the tree ordinances for this subdivision? Have you been notified of any of the findings? Like the city council passed it, and part of the tree ordinance, were you made aware of any of it for this?
For reviewing this particular project?
Mm-hmm,
No, that usually stays with the review with the engineer.
okay. What did they plan to do with that, where it's real wet there? How are they planning on building that up, do you know?
Do you know where specifically?
Yeah, and behind those homes that are already across the street from the park?
So they're proposing a detention pond adjacent to them, that'll eventually outfall into Town Creek.
But they're gonna drive across it, right? They're gonna drive down that cement road that isn't finished yet, and they're gonna drive into their subdivision. Did they approve that?
Different development.
Okay,
So this is.
That's what I was-
behind-
okay.
Right, so this is closer to Mid-South,
okay,
the Mid-South, so they have a little sliver between Mid-South and Napa,
okay,
and then it extends up that side of Town Creek up to Lone Star.
okay. Thank you for clarifying that,
Sure
because I'm
thing.
sitting here going,
Yeah.
how are they gonna do that with all that water? Okay,
There is an area where they have to cross, but that's in section 2, right?
Correct. So this section is all on the north side of the creek. The
Exactly.
proposed crossing with large box culverts is in section 2. And in that section, if you remember, part of the development agreement is they're going to make that road larger. So it's a 36-foot wide pavement section it'll dead end right now to is the Carlisle property that ultimately be extended to Lone Star Parkway. So you have another north-south corridor
okay.
in that area.
Sorry, I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
no problem. Once you said extending Concord Road, I figured out that's what it was.
Exactly.
He said Napa.
I think the lack of variances on this one make it pretty straightforward. I'll make a motion that we approve the final plat for Legacy Grove Section 1, Development Number 2409.
I have a motion for approval.
I'll second
Have a second.
on the final plat for Legacy Grove, Section 1, Development 2409.
We have a motion and a second for the final plat for Legacy Grove Section 1, Development 2409. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zach.
That's all the agenda items. Now we can, if we have any commission inquiry or anything
Yes.
we'd like to.
I have one, I'm interested in the city council addressing and/or giving us information on Chapter 78, which is in the interim for our subdivision ordinances, and I'm focusing on the tree ordinances. The reason I do this is, like I've been saying several times today in this meeting, is the destruction of the trees. And Montgomery is an old town, it's historic. And so there's trees that are old and need to come down, and some that are old and have a long life in them, and it brings character and such to our city. So I'm interested in that tree ordinance, and that it's an interim right now, that we could possibly impose some of the ordinances so that we save some of the trees, and or replace with a comparable tree, not just a 30-gallon. But I would like for city council to look at that and give us further information on that. Number 2 is I want to revisit the dumpsters that are still sitting downtown, that are not behind any blocks or barricades, or they're just sitting out as you drive down our downtown Montgomery. And also, I know the chief spoke to this before about the parking that's along 149. I just want to bring it up again because the streets are dark, it's at nighttime, people walk across the street in between cars, and I think it's a safety issue. I don't know what the answer is to it, but I just want to bring it back up to make it, bring it to city council's attention, that we're doing all possible to make sure that our downtown area is safe and that parking is in its proper place so that people are safe and that they're allowed to move about downtown Montgomery in a safe manner. That's it.
Question, Chris. This was brought up, asked me, I think after last meeting, the water. I know we've done all the water, the studies and whatnot. It's a good question. I never thought about it. Does what you have per gallons going here and there, does it account for any type of major fire? Because we're getting into large structures now. And when it was asked me, I got on Google and I understood if I read it right, is a standard home fire, a full, Gulf fire, is be up to close to 3,000 gallons. Do we have that?
So when the master plan was done, it was modeled based on multiple scenarios. So one is your average daily flow scenario, one's a peak day scenario, one's a fire flow scenario, to show how the system reacts under fire flow conditions at all the hydrants. And so when that master plan was done, the capital improvements that came behind it were to address fire flow in all those locations. So by closing these water line loops, by adding the water plant on the west side of town, which is the farthest reach, that provides that capacity to be able to get fire flow. So as of today, there are hydrants that do not have the same flows as others. Obviously, as you get further away from the city, but each individual, these large building developers specifically, they're required to do their own fire flow tests to get fire marshal approval, and so they are putting in fire tanks or other items to be able to meet that fire demand that's there. So yes, it is looked at, it is run through the scenarios that you're planning for that fire flow.
Okay.
And just cherry on top, maybe not, is for the BCS property in this development we just talked about. One of the main reasons that they are extending the water line all the way from Lone Star Parkway to Home Depot, where it ends, is because of that.
Because of that.
Is because in order for water to get around to their multifamily site, it was either going around the parkway or down 149 and back up that direction, versus just coming down 1097, or excuse me, coming down Buffalo Springs and going directly there. So that's why the requirement was to complete that loop. It shortens the distance and makes that being able to provide fire flow to those facilities.
Okay. Any other items?
I'll make a motion we adjourn.
I'll second.
Have a motion and second for the adjournment of the September 2nd, 2025 meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Meeting is adjourned.
Adjourn. I meant adjourn.
Hmm?
I said adjourn. I meant adjourn.
You guys don't forget, next month, it's on the Wednesday.
That's the 8th, right?
Or the 7th or something.
Oh, 7th, not the 8th. Okay. All right.
Next one.
Yeah.
Yes, we're already in